That really was frustrating, especially since this whole off season I've kind of focused my lifting and power and strength, explosiveness, and try and improve that part of my game. So it was difficult when I found out that I would be out for a little bit, may miss the first two games, but when that happens, you just gotta put your head down, work as hard as you can, and then help the guys around you that are going to be in that position when it comes game time.
How did that happen?
Over time, it was a stress thing. Yeah, it was a stress thing, just from summer workouts and whatnot, and kind of just caught up to me at a bad time. Well, really, it was a good time because it was right before the season, but yeah, it just caught up to me.
Physically, are you where you need to be? Are you shape-wise and everything? You think you're there?
Yeah, the starting getting back into practice and stuff was a little difficult, just conditioning wise, and just getting your football legs underneath you again, because that is a real thing. But once I had a few practices under my belt, I kind of got back in the rhythm and in the flow of things, and now I'm good, I'm ready to go.
Neil mentioned, he
Explain
said,
it a little bit with getting your football legs back. I mean, we hear a lot of people say it. Is it contact? Is it playing at that speed? What are the things that go into that?
Yeah, it's definitely contact, speed. Those are important parts of it. But just being out there, where to look, little stuff on plays, those little things. I mean, it's a game of inches. There are critical details in every single play, and one of those little details can mess up a whole entire play. So just understanding, your job and executing on those little details. That's what football's about. And when you come back, you're really just trying to get back in the flow of things, but you gotta be aware of those little details, and work on that.
Neil mentioned your run blocking. Where does that come from? I mean, you were a former wide receiver. You're a converted tight end now. How did that develop?
That developed over time. That's one thing that your body has to obviously evolve, and then as your body evolves, you get more comfortable with the mentality of it. One thing I thought I always had was the mentality, because even in high school when I was a receiver, it didn't matter. When I was blocking, I wanted to put him on his back too, so it didn't matter really.
You were going to put him on.
Yeah, I just enjoy that a lot. So I always had that mentality, but I didn't have the body for it when I first got here, especially playing against Big 12, linebackers and DNs. So there's a process to that, but it's kind of they both work together, and you hit a point.
Same amount of satisfaction putting the guy on the ground as opposed to catching a first down pass?
I get more satisfaction for sure putting someone on their back, because putting another man on their back against their will is one of the best feelings on the planet. So definitely.
What do you think when you see Gronkowski play?
Gronkowski?
Yeah,
Uh,
there aren't many.
yeah, Kittle, Kelsey, Gronkowski. When I look at those guys, everybody sees touchdowns and all that other stuff. They have a great block. But I just see like guys that love to play football, which is like that's the key to success in this game. Is like if you love to play it, you're gonna do well. You're gonna put yourself in positions to do well. So watching them, their energy on the field. I saw a clip of Kittle putting someone on their back in the end zone, and he's laughing. Right after the play, and that's just like pure joy and excitement of playing the game. And that's something that I want to emulate within my game, because it is a game and it should be treated as a game. And it's fun.
You go home in the summer, do people recognize you? What are you, 50 pounds heavier than when you left Chicago?
Yeah, when I was first, changing, I guess you could say, or transforming into the tight end body. When I went home, people didn't really recognize me, especially because I had a baby face and now I have a beard. So now it's really the body and the face. So people really don't understand. But yeah, there's a little bit of that, which is cool and funny. But yeah.
Think of someone who's a tight end and physical. That's probably being nasty, but you don't seem like you're nasty. I mean,
No, it's a mindset.
different people there?
Yeah, definitely two different people. On the field you got to be a little nasty and crazy, but off the field you can be whoever you want. That's a day-to-day choice. And I just like to enjoy life and I'm usually an optimistic person. But when I have a job to do, especially when I'm on the gridiron, I'm going to do everything I can to get it done.
So you were on the sidelines at Maryland. Yeah, I know you were LIU too, but Maryland's probably was tougher when things maybe go poorly. How difficult is that mentally to have to sit and watch?
Yeah, that's something. I had to do that freshman year a little bit when I was injured, but I really wasn't, I hadn't played it all yet, so I wasn't really, connected in that sense. But watching, the Maryland game and, just knowing there's nothing you can really do, you're on the sideline and in your regular clothes that's difficult. But, I've in the first half of that, I kind of struggled. I'm like, I had anxiety about it. Like, I wish I could go out there and play. But then it kind of, there was a switch that went off in my mind. I'm like, well, I just got to focus on, the guys who were in the game, just aid them as much as I can, whether that's running over and grabbing them Gatorade because it's too hot out, or getting them a towel, or telling them, if you see this, you might be thinking this or doing this, just trying to help them out in any way I can, because, if you do that, at least you're benefiting your team, in the position that you're in.
What is the relationship with you and TJ? You guys came in together, and now you've been battling out for 4 years now.
Yeah, we have a great relationship. He's a great friend of mine, great athlete. But yeah, we came in together. We've been competing for the job ever since. But a tight end position, you need multiple tight ends to play a game. It's a very physical position. It can take a lot out of you at times. So having kind of a 1-2 duo, 1-2 punch, so to speak, is really helpful, and I think we do that really well.
So you put your coach hat back on from when you were doing that. What do you see out of the younger tight ends? What's your analysis on them?
They have a lot of potential. They really do. One thing that I'm focused on doing right now is setting a good example, and setting a culture within our position room, not just on the team, but in our room. That we're ruthless. We're gonna go get you. And that's kind of what you need at this position. Trayvon Wesco did it, and I kind of learned from that. And I was, now being in a leadership position in that room, I really want to bring that back, bring that mentality and that mindset back to, our guys. But I also want other, our opponents to know that too. Like when you're facing that gold and blue, it's not going to be easy, especially in that tight end room. So. Those guys have a lot of potential, and they're learning and growing. They want to get better, and I think they're going to have some great careers here.
Big leap for a European kid to understand at this level?
There's a big leap. He's done a great job so far. I really think so. Just coming into a new environment, it's different. Having to do that, and then understanding the football aspect of it and the speed of the game, which, if you're me coming from high school, the speed was, drastically different. He's coming from another country, so I don't know much about it, but the speed of the game there, but I know it's going to be a little bit different. So adjusting to that's difficult as well, but he's done a good job, taking in as much as possible, and he's a good listener.